to this PowerPoint presentation that I believe all the members have. I have the privilege and honor of directing a group of individuals, 18 professionals, through New York and Albany and New York City. The Opportunity Programs Group is responsible for MWBE participation throughout the Dormitory Authority, specifically, as Paul has alluded to, in construction-related opportunities and procurement. I direct you to page 3. You will see an organizational structure, and I need to make sure that the esteemed panel and the guests in the room understand that leadership is critical in this particular area. The Dormitory Authority has traditionally over the years had a good MWBE program. Under the tutelage of Paul Wins, we have a great MWBE program. That's a common theme that I think needs to be conveyed, because without executive leadership, you're not going to get the results that you need to and expect to see across authorities and agencies in this state. We've been privileged. I report directly to Paul, as well as the Managing Director of Executive Initiatives, who reports directly to Paul. That is critical. I think you will hear some testimony later today that not all MWBE programs report to executive management. That's the problem. Also, I think in a questionnaire that was forwarded to us, there were some questions about how do we retain minorities and women to our board and our senior leadership team. I think you've heard Paul mention that under the guidance of Governor Patterson, which kind of encouraged Paul to leave the private sector to come into public service. With that said, he became the first African-American executive director of the Dormitory Authority in its history. Next thing happened was that we also, under again Governor Patterson, wound up getting the first African-American chair of the board of directors of the Dormitory Authority. So that's where direction comes from in terms of for the authority and MWBE. That permeates every area. On page 4, you also notice the structure. My unit is directly involved with every single procurement that occurs. What I mean by that, the contract cannot be initiated unless it comes to my department. A contract cannot be awarded unless it's approved by my department. And a contract cannot be closed unless it comes to my department. Okay, that is critical in terms of ensuring that if you put goals to Article 15A, that they actually occur. On page 5, you'll notice contract language. In our contracts, MWBE participation is exactly as the scope of work is described in any procurement. So it's a contractual requirement, not a desire of Michael Clay or Paul Weems. It's a contractual requirement. Again, that's critical. Page 6. Those 18 people that I mentioned at the onset of my testimony, they are responsible for monitoring and doing actual contract compliance. They get in the field, they walk sites, they see that MWBE subs as well as minority and females are actually working on our projects, not just the paper game. That's not necessarily prevalent in all the other agencies and authorities. Page 7 talks about MWBE performance. Well, executive leadership, commitment of personnel, strategic placement of the program gets you desired results. The Dormitory Authority has a statewide goal of 20%, that's 13% M, 7% W, and we have exceeded those goals in the last several years. And in fact, last year, we achieved over 24% MWBE participation in the state of New York across all of our projects. That would mean, and I don't like to get into this, but it's the nature of the animal, 187 million was transmitted to MWBE firms across the state of New York. Page 8 talks about our goals. Our goals are broken out by upstate and downstate. As you can see from that chart, it talks about how do we assess and provide those goals.